Okay, good evening. This is the Christian Hearts Christian Fellowship Church of Jeff Davis County and Coffee County. I am your pastor, Isaac David Brigmond. Excuse the way I look. And this is my office slash bedroom. And I want to, y'all excuse the way I look. I know I'm not the perfectest person in the world, but shouldn't matter what the guy looks like as long as he's speaking the word of the Lord to you. And some of y'all have spoke your mind about my way of doing things that you believe that I'm not actually speaking what God told me to speak, and some of y'all trash me, but don't take that to heart. Remember what I say and take what I say to heart, because we're going to read today in Exodus 6:1. Then the Lord said unto Moses, Now shalt thou see what I will do to Pharaoh, for with a strong hand shall he lead them, let them go, and with a strong hand shall he drive them out of his land. And what I spelt was Pharaoh. Okay, now, excuse my background, excuse the fact that this is a bedroom slash office, but okay, I am not one of these guys. I've been told through my lifetime, been asked how many times by folks was I a Mexican, and I had to tell the world, no, I'm not a Mexican. And I've had my friends and family members be asked the same question, was he a Mexican? And we had to tell them no. But I want to tell y'all something, folks. Take this stuff I say seriously, no matter what room I live in or work in. This is my apartment slash church. Until I can get to funding to have an actual church building, then my apartment will have to suffice as a church. Okay, I want y'all to understand that what the Lord was saying, and before I get started, my name is Pastor Isaac David Brigmond, and every time you watch these videos, you are attending a church service of mine because these are my church. Okay, what the Lord was saying to Moses was basically, he wanted the he wanted Moses to take his people out of the bondage of Pharaoh, because Pharaoh was not a good man, and pretty much Pharaoh had his own agenda of what he wanted the people to do, and it just wasn't what God wanted. God wanted Moses to free his people, basically free them to the point of, yes, the Lord wanted Moses to be his apostle, his disciple, his man, to lead the people out of bondage. And now you might think bondage, and next thing you know, you're talking dirty and thinking, Pastor, you can't be talking about bondage. That's nasty. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm not talking about that. Biblical bondage means the way that you are imprisoned by the guy who has you captured, which basically means the way Pharaoh did his prisoners, he had them in bondage. So don't go taking what I say out of context, because I did not say that he was doing them dirty sexually. Don't even go there. But if you read it again, it said, Then the Lord said unto Moses, Now shalt thou see what do, I will do to Pharaoh, for with a strong hand shall he lead them, let them go, and with a strong hand shall he drive them out of his land. Well, excuse me for coughing, but the Lord knew that Pharaoh would at some point have to change his ways, because if he didn't change his ways, what Pharaoh would do is end up basically in a position to where he had to either change his ways or get the wrath of God put upon him. And Pharaoh didn't want to see the wrath of God, so Pharaoh said, okay, if the Lord is going to punish me the way he's punishing me, then I need to stand up and say, if I don't stand up and do what the Lord tells me to do, then his wrath is going to be upon me, and I'm going to end up having to see all kinds of manner of mess that I didn't want to see. So I had to prove to the Lord that, yes, Lord, you done me like you done me, but you didn't just do it because you wanted to. You did it because it had to be done because I done things I shouldn't have done. And I agree, I was wrong. I go through things in my life I'm not perfect about. And a lot of you people out there, and you know who you are, if you do it, you're going to have to feel the wrath of God upon you for it. But you look at folks and you tell them, well, excuse me, but you're not perfect. I know I'm not perfect. I mean, if I was perfect, I wouldn't have to talk to y'all like I have. But you know, a lot of people don't want to talk to you the way God told them to because they always got this thing in their mind that if they're right, they're right. And you cannot say nothing about it. Because if you do, you get the wrath of so many foes upon you. And it's not truly about the wrath of God upon you so many foes that makes the big deal. It's about these people not learning from God what they were supposed to learn in order to do what God told them to do. I mean, it don't take no rocket scientist to realize when God gives you a command, if you don't do it, what are you saying? You're saying to the world that you don't love them and they don't love you, and so you don't love God and God don't love you. Well, God always loves you, no matter what you do or say. But it hurts my feelings to think that you people out there, and you know who you are doing this mess, will sit there and tell me how bad I am, but yet you won't look at yourself and see where you didn't do what God told you to do. There are people out there addicted to crack cocaine. There's people addicted to lying. There's people addicted to porn. There's people addicted to doing anything, even smoking cigarettes. Yeah, and you're going to come down on me saying, brother, you shouldn't have said nothing about smoking cigarettes. Well, guess what? When you talk about people, if you don't know who you're talking about, don't say nothing, because I've seen you do it before. You talk about folks, didn't know who you were talking about, and then got all mad at me because I wouldn't follow in the footsteps of what you want me to do. See, God said that you are supposed to be the one to listen to Him. You're not telling no other man, woman, or child how to live their life. And you want to tell me how to live my life, I'm going to tell you something, folks. You don't go do that. You don't tell me how to live my life and expect me to be sitting there doing it if God did not tell you what to do. And you think that I'm a bad man because I don't pick up no guns, I don't pick up no knives, and I don't throw down like you do. But you know what? I can tell you something right now. You can sit there and tell me all day and night that you can marry somebody and you can turn around and then divorce them or not and go back to them when you separated from them and think that's fun. It ain't fun or funny. I tell you something else. When you get in a situation, it don't matter what the situation is, ask the Lord to help you get out of it. Ask the Lord, how, dear Lord, do I get out of my problems? Because the Lord's going to tell you what you need to do. But a lot of you folks don't want to listen because you've been told how many times what to do, how to do it, and you say, well, brother, how are you going to tell me what to do if you ain't never been through problems? Ha ha, there you go. I've been through stuff myself, and I know where you're coming from, because I've been there before too. And you know what? There ain't no need in you telling me how bad I am when you don't even know who you are, and you don't even know what you're doing, and you sit there, and you stand there, and you pray, and you tell me how to live my life. But yet I find out all them prayers you're supposed to be giving people, you do not really take them seriously. You pray because you let your prayers be your crutches. Why do you let prayers be crutches when you know good and well the Lord is not going to sit there and accept you using your prayers as crutches when you're supposed to sit there and say, Lord, I have done wrong, I have said wrong, and I need to get my mess corrected? How in the world can you correct yourself if you're going to sit there and let the whole world tell you how to live and you don't even live it yourself? You know, if the world is going to sit there and tell you how to live and they won't live it themselves, does that tell me something right there that maybe there's a race of people who just don't really give a care about doing what they're supposed to do, but they're willing to tell you how to do it and they're willing to tell you how to be it? And you know what? I'll tell you something. You don't go around telling the whole world how to be if you're not willing to do it yourself. Because I've seen them cry and I've seen them lay there in the mud and blood and sit there and tell you, hey, help me get up. And you do help them. You do help them. Then you expect them to take a lesson from the help you gave them and turn around and say, oh, you know, I think I need to correct my life because this man, woman, and child who just brought me up from the muck and the blood, they did this because the Lord told them to do it. And if the Lord didn't tell them to do it, then they wouldn't have done it. And here I am, sitting there, not listening to God, not listening to Jesus, when they told me how to live my life. They told me how to be, told me how to do things, and I still didn't want to do it because I thought I was better than everybody else. I thought that I could do it all by myself. There ain't no doing it by yourself. If you can't get the Lord to help you, it's not because the Lord won't help you. It's just you hadn't even seen the stuff He's done. You ain't seen the stuff He said. You ain't seen the stuff He's done for you. I mean, if you're seeing it, then you'd understand it better. Like this here. Exodus 6:10. And the Lord spoke unto Moses, saying, okay, the Lord spoke to Moses, and you say, well, see, when the Lord told Moses what to do about the captive, He meant for him to do it exactly to the letter. And because he did do it the way the Lord said, look what happened. He got what he deserved. It says here in Psalms 14:4, have all the workers of iniquity not... Let me read it again. Psalms 14:4, have all the workers of iniquity no knowledge, who eat up my people as they eat bread and call not upon the Lord. So, basically, how are you going to tell the world what they should do, how they should be, but you don't call upon the Lord and say, dear Lord, what do I do to these people over here? I basically just run their lives without asking the Lord, where do I stand in these people's lives? And you know what? Don't even go there telling me that every man's got a destiny to do something to another person without realizing, yes, that's true, but did you ask God and Jesus where you stand on that subject? No, you didn't ask all that. You was too busy trying to tell people what they going to do and how they going to do it, and you didn't even bother to ask nobody no questions. I'm sorry, but if I was you, I'd wise up, wake up, smart up, get up, and smell the roses and coffee and realize ain't no such a thing as just doing things blindly. If doing things blindly and learning, you ain't going to get nowhere. Just blindly ain't a thing. It's blindly with a consequence, and you've got to understand that consequence comes when the Lord tells you what you must do to Him and what you must do for every man, woman, and child alive. There is no such a thing as trying to tell me, trying to tell the world, oh, this is how the world goes. No, it don't go that way. It goes the way the Lord said it goes. And we need to learn when the Lord says, rise up, stand up, and do as I command you to do, then do it. Don't sit there and say, well, I can't do it. It's too hard. Well, excuse me, but there ain't no rules that says that anything the Lord wanted you to do is going to be easy. So don't start that. But I'll tell you something. I'm going to do a little more speaking here from the Bible, and then I'll have to let y'all go. But let me do another one. Excuse me. Coughing a lot. Trying to hurry up so I don't... It says here in Psalms 14:5, there were they in great fear, for God is in the generation of the righteous. So basically what it says is that the Lord is good, and there are a race of folks that will fear the Lord and be so scared of Him that they will cower down to Him and say, what do I do to keep you from tearing me limb from limb? And He'll say, well, if you follow my rules, you will go to heaven and you will not see Satan. That's that simple. But we want to do something our way or another way or some other way and think that's cool. Well, Proverbs 13:25, the righteous eateth to the satisfying of his soul, but the belly of the wicked shall want. Means to say that if you are a righteous person, then the righteous people will eat till they're full, and the sinful man will always be wanting for something to fill that belly that he'll never find, because if you don't get it now, you'll never get it. And my time is up, and I thank you. This is Pastor Isaac David Brigmond of the Christian Hearts Christian Fellowship Church of Jeff Davis County and Coffee County.